Michel Perez up again, driving, grabbing that rail. He wants more.
Leonardo Fioravanti. A beautiful backdoor section. He'll adjust. He'll come out on the high line. Beautiful Fiji is the stage for the outer-known Fiji Pro. You're joining us in quarterfinals. Heat number 2, a great one. Michel Perez, lots of experience up against the rookie Leonardo Fioravanti, who is finally starting to blossom here as he gets a breakthrough result in 2017 into the quarterfinals. Geek Saliers alongside Martin Potter. We're loving the show. We trust you are with us. And just one little wave achieved thus far. You see the 2 points for Michel Perez. So plenty of time ahead for us. South Pacific looking groomed here, Potts.
Yeah, well, that wind has picked up a little bit, but it is favourable. So a stronger offshore wind, which kind of means it might hold that barrel open a little bit longer for these guys. Seen a fair few incompleted tube rides, but that last heat, Matty Wilco proved gems are out there and managed to get 3 excellent scores. So this was the opening wave for Michel Perez. No stranger to the tube ride, coming from Tahiti. Now you can see him starting to pump and it just goes down there. So once you grab that rail in a tighter transition of a tube, it's really hard to get that flow going, that momentum. You can watch him starting to tug on the rail, bang, there it is. And again, starting to try and drive through that section. A little harder to do on your backhand than your front side when the wave gets sort of really tight in the barrel.
So great body mechanics, lots of strength from the surfer we affectionately refer to as the Spartan. Of course, Michel Perez calls Tahiti home. So no stranger to the power of reef breaks. And that's the one thing with cloud break. It is hard to actually portray visually sometimes how strong these waves are. And everyone on that sort of slightly sleeked out step-up equipment as well, Potts, and they're surfing them real hot dog, but they are on step-ups.
Yeah, well, a lot of ground to cover, a lot of water moving, a lot of wind to deal with, so step-up a really good option. Just gives you a little bit more stability when it comes to that tube ride as well. So you will find a lot of guys are riding, as you said, the step-up, which is an inch or so longer. Still quite still in that sort of hot dog range though.
Yep.
Back in our days, our step-ups were in that 6'4" to 6'6" range.
Well, Jersey 9 and Jersey 46 respectively. They keep those numbers their entire career. It's got nothing to do with current seedings. Leonardo Fioravanti will be welcoming any numbers that he finds, because this is the first time he's got out of that round 2 loss. Down at 36 on the Jeep leaderboard. Michel Perez, not a great run either, Potts, sitting at 23rd, in fact dropping 4 positions. Care of a round 2 loss in Rio de Janeiro from Michel Perez sees him welcoming points here by getting to the quarterfinals. So the worst that either of these surfers can do here is a 5th place finish.
Now, just an idea of how detrimental that round 2 is.
Yeah.
You know, it's you literally lose ground.
Yeah, you're getting flushed out the back door, right?
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Well, the South Pacific gearing up for us here. Just after 10 a.m. local time. Moving out of the high tide zone on the tide chart here as we see this wave drawing off the reef of Michel. Tucks in, but he artfully will do all the tucking without an exit as that wave steamrolls down the reef with a little under 29 minutes to go. So 2 incompletes for Michel Perez thus far. Wide set. See the caddies and Strada Wazalewski just on the edge of the proverbial playing field there. Doesn't look like too much current affecting things right now, Potts.
No, we may see a little bit once that tide starts going out, but at this point in time it looks pretty sedate really as far as water movement goes. That wind just keeping things nice and clean on the face. Beautiful texture.
Well, with a little over 28 minutes to go and a little lull here, let's throw it down to Matt Wilkinson and hear from his thoughts from that quarterfinal 1 victory.
Thanks, guys. You're down here with the winner and absolutely crushing it through that heat, Matt Wilkinson. Matt, you got 3 waves all in the excellent range.
Yeah, it started off, I really wanted the inside for the start, and Jules pushed really hard for it, and I kind of made a few escapes and got down the line, and then they didn't start our heat for a while because there was scores coming in, and luckily I just got a little escape in time, and he missed the first wave, and that thing turned out really nice. I got a nice tube, and then I knew on the way out there was some really nice, like fast long ones that were kind of going under everyone in the heats before. So on the way out I found that thing and was like, oh, another 8. This is nice. And then the third one I got was, I thought it was like the best line I've seen since I've been here. It was the best looking wave, and just didn't go as long as I thought, but it was a beautiful wave. And yeah, it was kind of a nice start, but a scary end. Jules got that 8.5 and put himself right back in there, and then I had priority, and I knew I had to be smart with it. And luckily there wasn't too many waves in the back half. He got that one that it didn't look real good when he took off, but he came pretty close to the score, so it was scary.
Yeah, I think he did well to manufacture the score for himself. But, you know, on your behalf, you've done some really great work barrel riding. Looked like you've been, from last year to this year, you've put some time in on just staying deeper in the barrel, really maximizing that time.
Yeah, I think out here it's pretty tricky. You always think you're a bit too deep, so I've figured that if I think I'm too deep, I'm probably in the right spot. But yeah, it's weird. You see the wall stretches out so long, and your natural reaction is just to start racing. But if you hold back for one, just hold back a second, and then you end up deep and in the right spot. So I feel a lot more comfortable on the reef here this year, and I don't know, this is a pretty beautiful day. I'm excited to get another heat.
Well, congrats. We'll let you get ready for your next one. I can't wait to see you getting one step closer.
Thank you.
Matty Wilkinson's on his way to the semi-finals here in Fiji, and a lot of that talk in that interview about being comfortable in the tube. Certainly Michel Bourrez, no stranger to the barrel. Seen some great waves in the previous heat for Leonardo Fioravanti in his round 5 encounter as well. So this is going to be the great duke out of the backhand barrel here, Potts.
Yeah, I like what he said. If you think you're too deep, you're in the right spot. Next time I serve out there, I'll try that.
Yeah,
I'll probably get smashed and break my board, but that's where these guys are thinking. This is, you know, the impossible ones really are the ones you want, and those are the ones that are going to give you the excellent scores. So let's have a look at the last one from Michel Bourrez while we're at that interview. A bigger set wave, and Michel Bourrez slides into it using that rail grab, slowing himself down. Now he starts to hit the gas, driving through that section, and then the Spartan fights his way through for a solid score. This is going to be a keeper wave for Michel Bourrez. Put a little bit of pressure on the Italian stallion. Look at this. Perfect positioning from Michel Bourrez. Starts to lean forward, ducking his head, contorting his body, and then standing up strong to get through that one. So Michel Bourrez comes flying out the end of an 8.50 and the first excellent score of the heat.
Loving it. Great value here for Michel Bourrez. See him just digesting. He's already back in the lineup. Now he's going to hold a little bit further down the reef here from his opponent. And there might be some telltale positioning here. Does that mean that Leonardo Fioravanti is potentially too high up the reef?
Well, that's where Michel took off on his last wave, right about where Leonardo Fioravanti is, but right where Michel Bourrez is, that's where Matty Wilco got that second long tube ride, 8.67. So you could see Michel jump off the ski, didn't want to get dragged all the way out the back. The caddy said, look, slowly paddle out, because those inside deep ones are the ones that are going to give you those long tube rides.
Tactics out in the water. It is quarterfinal time, and the winner of this heat will go up against Matt Wilkinson in semi-final number 1. A little under 23.5 to go here.
The other thing too is what it's doing is it's Leo sitting out the back going, where is he? What's he doing?
Yeah.
Why is he down there? What is, you know, and it's kind of taking a little bit away from his own thought process. So a smart move there from Michel Bourrez.
See that distance between the athletes? About 50, 60 yards. There's Leo having a little look there, referencing to the position of his opponent in the lineup. For second surf of the day already for Leo Fioravanti. Matched up against Ian Gouveia in round 5 earlier this morning. Got the win over the talented rookie. And that was an all-rookie battle. Talking of rookies, next up, quarterfinal number 3, Connor O'Leary, proudly representing Cronulla, takes on the other mature rookie, if we can use that terminology, for Jean Duru in an all goofy foot. Quarterfinal number 3.
Yeah,
there are those athletes that are in the rookie race for 2016. No Ezekiel Lau, he fell out alongside Frederico Moraes, looking very forward to seeing how Zeke and Frederico fare up at J-Bay. Of course, stop 6, the Corona Open J-Bay, coming at us July 12th. 11 stops in total, so lots of time for rookies to make up ground on each other. It'll be a great year again. You talk about that rookie race, the world title race. Also, so hard to predict, an absolute nail-biter. And we could see a yellow jersey change if Matt Wilkinson can get a win here in Fiji. But there's still lots to come and lots to talk about as Leo goes behind the curtain here. Engineering this tube beautifully. Now puts the weight on the front foot to come through the loop there and out. Now loads up the turn. Cracks it lovely. So nice reply to Michelle Perez's 8.5 right there. We have a heat on our hands, Potts.
Yep, exactly. Good fight back right there from Leonardo Fioravanti. A real mature head on the shoulders of a young man, 19 years of age. Surfing well beyond his years, that's for sure. Competing at a high level. Did some damage as a wild card last year, and so far this year, a bit of a sleepy start. 4 25ths in a row, but this is going to definitely give him a boost.
Well, Leo's been laying a foundation for a professional career for a number of years. Saw a great post show with him the other day. Great profile piece on Leonardo Fioravanti. Of course, you can follow all of our athlete profiles on the worldsurfleague.com website. You mentioned that we've seen him as a wild card before, Potts. Last year, you mentioning his run. Let's have a look at the replay of this, though, as he engineers this.
Yeah, nice tube stance. Just grabs the rail, slides in, as did Michelle Perez. Chucking in for quite some time. Comes out and then got that little bonus section and connected nicely with it. So combination of maneuvers there from the tube to the turn. I like the sliding in right there. Just slides nice and tight, pulls up and then drives through the section. You can see that front hand just keeping in touch with the speed of the wave. It kind of gives him a gauge on how much water's moving, how fast he needs to go. Good surfing right there.
Well, what are you seeing as the difference between the two backhand tube ride spots? I mean, Michelle Perez really had to put the pedal to the metal at one stage, whereas Leo kind of stayed in third gear with a touch of stall the whole way through, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the judges kind of tend to like those ones where you're going 100 miles an hour. So it's going to be pretty close as far as the exchange goes.
But then tack on the big backhand
Turn
hits
at the
for
end,
Leo, right?
Which Michelle didn't get, so it's going to be pretty even Stevens.
Panel working on numbers now, thinking about the comparison between the two last waves we've seen per athlete. Michelle Perez found the 8.5. Panel starting to lock in the number now for Leo Fioravanti. And it's going to go an 8.57. So they like the combination of tube with maneuver. Although that tube was a little slower through the run down the reef pot. So interesting comparison there, individual waves.
If you go back as well, Michelle Perez's wave had a lot of white water on it.
And he also kind of squeezed out of a broken section.
Squeezed out of a broken section, so 0.07 better for Leo Fioravanti. So 18 minutes and 20 seconds to go. We've got a heat on our hands. Michelle Perez up against Leonardo Fioravanti, who's on his way to his best result so far this year.
Potts 11% picked Michelle Perez in the fantasy surfing stakes. in the next tier, 10% for Leonardo Fioravanti. And as we digest all that, we'll take a quick break here at quarterfinal number 2. Stay with us in Fiji.
Welcome back to the Outer Node Fiji Pro. I'm here with the runner-up from the first quarterfinal, Julian Wilson. Jules, disappointing result, mate. Waves are cranking, though. That must be the consolation prize.
Yeah, the result's not disappointing. Quarterfinals was good. My best result this year. That heat, yeah, it didn't work out for me. I was put in a corner right from the get-go. Couldn't get that first wave. Wilco got that first wave. We were both up the top. He was hassling me, keeping me up the top, and that was the difference in the start of the heat. And it seemed like it got him into a rhythm right away. He had 2/8s in the first, or 3/8s in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then it was up to me to counter. And I waited for my moment. And I countered well and got the second highest score of the heat, and I was in a good position. Just needed another opportunity, and I found a good opportunity under his priority and felt like I surfed it well, and I think I got just under an 8, and I needed an 8.5, and I'm proud of the way I turned around the kind of back end of that heat. I guess the last 3 quarters of it really was I had my back against the wall, so a lot of real positives to take out of that heat, and conditions are great, and days like this you just want to win so badly because the conditions are just ideal. But you know, I think there wasn't much more I could have done. I obviously wish I was on that first wave and got in that rhythm Wilco was in at the start and put the pressure on him, but he was able to do that to me. And that first wave, it was so funny. I felt like the wave before broke right next to me, and the next one had the wall on it at the start of the heat, and this weird little double up thing came through it, and I was paddling for it, and the thing just snuck straight underneath me and just delivered itself right to Wilco that was like 20 metres down the line, and that's just the way it went, and it's the way the cookie crumbled out there. I obviously wish it didn't go that way, but well done to Wilco, and obviously he surfed his opportunities well.
And as you said, so many positives to take from it, mate, and a good attitude about the heat in general. That'll help you going into this little break and straight to J-Bay.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great result to take away from here, and obviously you want to win every event, but yeah, it's a great leg we have ahead of us now, and just want to keep building on the results I've had so far this year.
Good on you, Jules. Congratulations on the surfing you've done, mate.
Cheers, BL. Thanks, mate.
Julian Wilson finishes 5th here in Fiji as you now swing the focus back to quarterfinal number 2 with Leonardo Fioravanti behind the curtain. He's going to get that one in the head somewhere back there, and he'll go incomplete. But while we were discussing all that, numbers have been climbing for Michel Barres, Potts.
Yes, they have, and Leo is going to slightly pay for that.
Boom.
That's the part of surfing that when you play at a high level, you're going to pay at a high level. So Leo looks like he's all right up on his board, but as you said, while we're at that break, Michel Barres countered back. Leo Fioravanti came back with an 8.57 as the single highest scoring wave, and then Barres slides into this beautiful wave, driving through that section, ducking under the little bonus piece at the end. And then this is what I like about Michel's surfing, is his ability now to finish off his waves. He doesn't go too hard at the end, just make sure he finishes on his feet, finishes with control. Look at that, perfect positioning, up and over the foam board, ducks under that little end section, and then connects nicely. Big backside hooking maneuver with a bit of a tail slide. Gives himself a clap, 8.63, and extends his lead yet again over Leo Fioravanti.
Live action. Perez back in the tunnel here in Cloudbreak, and he'll accelerate the speed out. He's liking the feel as he gets pushed down the reef here. Now another backhand hits as well. And as he claims it, he gets a slap on the back of the head from the South Pacific. But nonetheless, another momentum builder here for Michel Perez. And we heard Julian say it would be nice to keep moving through heats because the conditions are so pristine. Well, Michel Perez will be thinking that right about now.
Yeah, what a little run he's had. 3 waves in a row. 8.5, 8.63. And another one. Just about to lock in for Michel Perez. We always talk about how good waves can become contagious out here at Cloudbreak. Once you find one gem, one will literally follow. Matty Wilco, 3 in a row in his heat. Michel Perez looking for 3 in a row of his own. Score starting to come through right now. Leonardo Fioravanti needing an 8.57. Michel slides into this one, driving through the section, completely disappears out of view and comes out nice and clean. Bangs it at the end. So Michel Perez finding some sort of rhythm here, geeks, and have a look at that score. It's an excellent score yet again. Look at this, driving through the section. Comes out untouched. That was a clean shot. A bullet out of the end of the rifle as Michel flies into that last turn. Great surfing from the Tahitian. Michel Perez drops a massive score.
Well, there you have it. 5 judges on duty. One of them went as high as a 9.5. The average for a 9.17 top end score. And you mentioned Matty Wilkinson in the previous heat. Potts also just going on a roll. Michel Perez now extends his lead and adds pressure to Leonardo Fioravanti, whose requirements now are a 9.23, but we know they're out there. It is Cloudbreak, and it is looking very peachy here.
He's got under, well, he's got just 10 minutes and 45 seconds, so a lot of time, plenty of time. But Michel Perez is kind of roving around through the inside section here.
That's about 100 yards between the two surfers. Michel down the end of the reef here will jump aboard again. Little ditch out. So that's a little technique just to bail, get away from your equipment, get spat out the back of the wave as it churns onto the reef.
So 8.5, 8.63, 9.17. What a little roll that was, a little purple patch.
Well, that purple patch will be serving him well here for the heat lead. As we mentioned, a 9.23 for Leonardo Fioravanti to bring the fight back. I've got some faith in Leo here. He's got that big match temperament.
Yeah, well, we talk about plenty of time. He's got priority. He's sitting out the back at Cloudbreak. One of the best waves on the planet. And those scores are definitely out there. Michel Perez just proved that.
Of course, Matt Wilkinson, there we see him. He'll be teeing up, getting ready for semi-finals.
I was like trying to get away and you come down, then I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get that guy.
yeah, I know. And then and for that wave to be good too from that far up, there wasn't many like that. Like the rest of the heat.
Man, how's a 7-8? I was like, thought that was such a burger. I just didn't let him have it. And then got a 7-8. I was like,
yeah.
So reflections on the heat there, Potts?
Might have been able to get a bit more. It kind of like came through the first bit and there was like bucking up and over. So I didn't really have control of it. It came out and did 2 turns. But
I thought it was a match ball.
yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have got that jam as tight as well.
Yeah, breaking it down. Trying to dissect what happened. Here we go.
Let's have a look as Leo now enters the pit here. Stalling. This one's one of those slower paced waves down the reef now. There's a little section to speed up. Leans forward, body weight forward. Is there enough to accelerate out? Oh. No, the answer's no. So, wow.
That could have been a great score.
Needs a 9.23. And he'll take a little Cloudbreak lip on the head here as well. As As that wide set flushes through the caddies and sideline. Still enough water on the reef, though, to not be dangerous, Potts.
Oh, it's dangerous, Gigs. But still is dangerous, let me tell you. It's not, even though it is high tide, it's not still not a lot of water at the end of that wave.
Just under 3 feet of tide swing here on the South Pacific. Let's have a look at this one.
Yeah, beautiful entry into that tube, but was kind of didn't really disappear as much as what he would like to have. And then this second section, driving as the wave semi-grows and then gets faster, but then completely clamps down, and unfortunately no exit there for Leonardo Fioravanti. 5 points on that occasion, not enough. He needs a 9.23. Beautiful positioning again, and just goes down right there, so almost came out of that one. Back to the drawing board for Leonardo Fioravanti, who's needing a score well and truly up into the excellent range. 7 minutes remaining. Michel Perez now with priority. He's going to try and control the back part of this heat.
So interesting, Potts, as we see Michel not moving at all, just holding that position. He's already made a decision. This is not a wave that he's that threatened by, so he allows Leo to take it.
It takes nerves of steel, though, Gigs, to let those good ones go. And you heard Matty Wilco and Julian talking, and Matty Wilco thought that wave was going to be a bit of a sort of a burger, which he referred to the wave as a not a good one, and it came pretty close to the score. So you really do have to have nerves of steel and the ability to identify the good ones.
Little movement now in the lineup. Both athletes on the tactical paddle here. Of course, priority with Perez. But Leo's happy to go right up his proverbial grill, so to speak. And he's got that mental fortitude to take on the world's best. Leo now in his rookie season on the championship tour, finding his best result thus far. He'll want to go better than a 5th place. And he's got to go to the excellent category scores here. Michel's going to allow him to go again, and a ditch out. And a couple of waves still approaching the reef here as well.
See how quick he got out of that?
Yep.
That was a technique right there. Obviously ditching the board, diving down through and under. An average surfer would have gone up and over the falls, snapped their board, got washed in on the reef.
Take a few hours to get back.
And their day would have been done.
Yeah. Got to get a boat, go back to the island, get your other board,
patch up the wounds,
come back. Leo.
Let's have a look here, watch. You can see his nose, he's not going to make it. Dives out and then twists his body straight out and underneath it. Yeah, let's have a look. You talk about how much water there is on the reef compared to low tide, but still, look how close the bottom is, Gigs. It's right there.
But where Leo
5 feet, maybe 6 foot deep, the most.
Interesting, where Leo dropped himself into that face, there was a lot of water rushing up the face.
Yeah.
So he's diving into upcoming water. So that kind of neutralizes the whole effect and kicks him out the back, right?
Exactly right.
4.5 minutes to go. It is quarterfinals here in Fiji. And Michel Perez is in control of this heat. It's going to take a 9.23 to change that for the young rookie. You see him constantly squirreling around the lineup. He's going to have a shot at another one here. Here he goes. Michel's let him have this one. Ducks in. Pinching section. Another incomplete. So lots of entries into the barrel, but not a lot of exits here.
I like it, though. He's got to keep plucking away. You know, you heard Matty Wilco talk about sometimes those ones that look like they're impossible are the ones you can make and get those long, big barrels. So Leo's doing exactly what he needs to do and just keep rolling the dice. Here we go, Michel Perez with priority. Is he going to go? He doesn't have to. He holds his position.
He's going to want to make that decision very carefully, Potts.
Yeah,
because he's got a better in 8.63 if he gets to his feet again and relinquishes that priority, right?
Yep. He knows those big scores are out there. 9.23 required by Leonardo Fioravanti. He's been staying busy. He's been trying to sell Michel Perez on waves. He's been trying to get Michel to initiate and lose that priority. Michel hasn't taken the bait, though. Nerves of steel from the Tahitian as Leonardo paddles right past him yet again. And now looks excited about what he's seeing. Is Michel going to use his priority on this occasion?
Leo is
he
all
interested?
over this lineup, Potts.
Still not interested is Michel Perez.
Leo will have another go. Here he goes. Deep entry, and it's another ditch out. So Perez is continuing to offer up the substandard waves. Leo will be using some energy up at this stage as well here.
He's 19 years old, man. He's got plenty of energy. He could do that all day long.
Oh, we love it. Trust that you're enjoying it with us here. All surfers remaining in the draw here in Fiji have never won at this location. Of course, Michel Perez does have championship tour wins under his belt. 3 of them, in fact, one of them being a Park Masters. One in Brazil, he's one in Western Australia. And he'll be just ushering the last 2 minutes into place here as winners here in this quarterfinal match up against Maddie Wilkinson in the semis. See how translucent the water is here. Some of the best sea conditions that you could wish for. Some of the purest ocean here in the South Pacific region. Of course, Ocean Awareness Day having fallen within the waiting period here back in June 8th. Lots of great stories that we've shared via Outerknown. And of course the Fijian fisheries using these pristine waters here in Tavarua for all sorts of sea life reclamation, including the giant clam species. What does Leo have to do here, Potts? 1 minute to go.
Well, he's doing.
How's he going to break away from Michel?
Oh, he's trying, isn't he? He's trying to make Michel initiate and use that priority, but Michel just has not taken the bait. So Leo's just kind of done what he can do, and that's just try and find one of those virtually impossible waves and make it, because he's going to need something like that to drop a 9.23. He's going to need excellent surfing. Big set approaching, 35 seconds remaining. Looks like a 3-wave set.
All
Now
kind of
Michel.
medium size Potts. Yep. Looking at the size of these waves, Leo again gets to work. Big requirements of a 9.23 on a medium-sized wave as he swings into gear with a succession of backhand hits. Can he come around that section? No, he can't. And that is going to be all the surfing we see from Leonardo Ferravante. That man right there, Michel Perez, is finding his best results of 2017 here in Fiji. And he'll take the heat win here to set him up against Matt Wilkinson in semi-final number 1. And that's going to be another great encounter. Talking of great encounters, 2 goofy footers will do battle next in Connor O'Leary taking on Jean Duru. Trust that you're loving the Outerknown Fiji Pro with us. Stay with us. We continue the action here. We bring in Rosie Hodge and Ronnie Blakey for the call.
Connor O'Leary. Look at this big fading bottom turn and just gets absolutely barreled.
Connor's going to take this one away from Kelly. Nice lift line crack right there. Another big sweep into the corner.
Here we go, Juan Daru taking off. Here is that double-handed stall straight into a nice pit. His rhythm is just perfect. Juan Daru on fire. Great to have your company for the quarterfinals of the Outer Fiji Pro. We're gearing up for a big one now between two rookies. Connor O'Leary taking on Juan Daru. Juan Daru, though, Rosie, he has been dropping big numbers in his last couple of heats. He's going to be hard to beat.
He's been so impressive, but so has Connor O'Leary. I mean, we call them rookies, but lately they've been apex predators out in the lineup here in Cloudbreak. So impressive just to see the evolution through this contest and gaining confidence through every round.
Connor O'Leary with this big finish in Fiji. Even if he bows out in the quarterfinals, is going to streak ahead in that Rookie of the Year race, but Juan Daru is going to try and reel him in on the bottom half of the draw. No one has come close to matching him with the big scores, but Connor O'Leary in a great position at the moment. Hasn't dropped a round two heat yet this year too. A little bit like Kanoa Igarashi last season. Had a good start to the year, went through the entire season without a 25th.
I was about to liken it to that. I mean, that consistency is so key in your rookie year. You can gain a lot of knowledge and also a lot of confidence just out of those results alone. It's always, such a big impact on a rookie to start the season on the Gold Coast and really gain momentum. So he's had some great results so far, not dropping a 25th in his scoreline.
No previous starts in Championship Tour events. Some of the rookies have enjoyed those wildcard moments before graduating full-time to the tour, but Connor just came out of the gates and blew everyone away at stop one this year. He just looks so comfortable, and a lot of credit has to go to Luke Egan. Just seems to have a really calm approach and never looks flustered, and I think he's handed that off to Connor.
Yes, such a good chemistry between these two, and that really is a payoff when you have a surfer that has, so much raw talent, but then you have, on the other hand, the experience of Luke Egan and what he can bring to Connor's performance and give him that edge. As a rookie on tour, you're already seeing the maturity in his surfing.
We touched on it yesterday too, and I think that Connor really benefits from being a goofy footer like Luke and almost having a similar approach on the open face. Big carving turns, really good barrel riding skills. Luke's able to almost use his expertise at riding the wave and pass that knowledge on to Connor. It's not like he's having to approach the wave differently from a backhand perspective. So that relationship working out pretty well so far this year.
Definitely, and both coming from Cronulla Beach, is that right?
Yep, Luke's living in Cronulla these days, so a lot of time training. But Juan Daru, I mentioned it before, on the bottom side of the draw, no one's really touching this guy as far as excellent scores go. Connor O'Leary hasn't even broken into the excellent range yet in this event. So his highest number of 7.33 came in the fourth round. Juan Daru, on the other hand, he's had 5 excellent scores. His highest a 9.2. His highest heat score total 17.6. So he's been really impressive. Kelly Slater's been watching both these young guys Juan Daru for a long time now. Kelly, what have you made of their effort here at Cloudbreak?
Well, Connor's been pretty good, obviously. He took me out. I like to think he's been the guy to beat, but like you said, Juan's had the scores. Connor's looked solid in the free surfs. He's looked good in his heats. I don't think he's really hit stride yet, to be honest. But he did surf, he's a big guy. He surfed good in that first round, kind of matched power with power. Hey guys, I'm over here. And it's funny because my screen's over there, but I'm trying to look at the camera. But yeah, it's a good matchup here. Two goofies, both rookies. I think Juan is quite a bit more experienced than Connor. He's really been on the scene for a few years, kind of like just missing out on qualifying a couple years there. I think he had 5 ninth places the year before he qualified, so he was right on that bubble and just barely missed out. So he's got a ton of experience, hangs out with Michelle and Jeremy and those guys. They're really in that competitive mindset, and like you said, with Connor hanging out with Luke Egan, which I thought it was great to see a Quicksilver logo on Luke's board. Luke won 3 events on tour. 2 of them were Quicksilver events. One of them was here at Cloudbreak when it was the Quicksilver event. But, I know Connor's going to be trying to win the first Outer Known Pro here. And I think it'd be pretty cool if a rookie won it. But, there's... guys are stepping it up today, and we see some nice, clean, good surfing. The waves are good. It's killing me to sit here watching it. It's literally like pulling fingernails out.
Oh, it's so rare not to see you here on finals day, Kelly. But it must be a proud moment, too, to be the title sponsor of an event here in Fiji. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it feels good for all of us at the brand, and just to kind of see how it all plays out. The feedback we've had, we've talked a lot about the sustainability of the brand, which is really a pillar of our brand, social compliance and using environmentally sound products, and just kind of slowly building into who we are and what we are. So it's definitely a proud moment for us to be able to sponsor a tour event this early on. Definitely, and I think there's probably just a little bit of validation into the good work you're doing, because I've never seen so many competitors wearing event T-shirts. They are so comfortable. So thank you for that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we've had some great feedback. I mean, we gave out some product. Obviously, the guys aren't going to be wearing it got my girls here. Salote, Druku's daughter. I'm sure they're not going to be wearing it out at night too much, but maybe around the house. And we put together a fun little package for all the guys, a phone charger and some product, and the Honest Company came in, gave us some stuff. So thanks to Jessica Alba's brand, and also to Shade and Monda Sunscreens. They both stepped up and helped us out here. The guys are all loving that. The charger was from GoPro. So, a whole bunch of sponsors kind of stepping up. Hydro Flask did the bottles for us, and we kind of did our logo bottles for that, which we're giving away with some of the sales online as well. And it's been great. It really has been. All the messages I've gotten from people about the way the event feels, what they've seen online. And John and I got to do some fun stuff the other day when we flew up north about an hour from here to collect a giant clam and about 500 babies and bring them back here to the island. So we'll seed the reef with those, and try to get the giant clams thriving in this area again. They're a beautiful creature, but I guess they're pretty good eating too. So over the years they got decimated here, and here we go. One of the first waves. Look at this thing, John driving into it way too deep, but you can see what everyone's looking for out there. The tide's pretty high, and everyone's sitting a little bit wide of the ledge. And you'll see Connor paddling wide. Generally what happens at Cloudbreak, the guy will get the first wave, and the next wave or two will start to swing wider and wider. So you'll always see the guy out the back paddling wide to get over to the spot. And you can see Connor's done that. He's placed himself good here. And if this one peels off, it should get real hollow towards the end of the reef here at Shish Kebabs. Why don't you take us through it? Well, here we go. Big old man turn. He throws a ton of spray. I think that was the point of difference on the Gold Coast. Nice little slot-in barrel, but not a real deep one. But it kind of made up for it there. Kind of threw a little bit of extra power into the back foot on that last one, which, Italo was throwing a really good turn down after his barrels in his second or third round heat with Gabrielle. And that was kind of the point of difference there. I think that's something Connor can probably look to in this heat. Try to outpower Joanne a little bit. He's got a bit more strength in his turns, but Joanne's really linking everything together. He's been super smooth on the big carve, and he's actually more often than not done the big wrap all the way around, where most guys haven't been. John's been pulling that off. So look at this first line. He did good to transition there off the top. It's a tricky little line there, but good pace to get into that. Not a big barrel. Steps on the back foot there, and that's where the risk came in. And nice clean ride. Probably not a giant score to start. So watch this carve line down, and then just sets up the barrel. Perfect speed. Kind of brushes it off there. Not a real hollow wave, but this is where he steps on the back foot. And now we're starting to get to see a bit more of what Connor has to offer. There's 6 surfers left in the event, and obviously we're just getting our first look at a couple of the quarterfinalists now. Connor O'Leary, but we haven't seen beat Durbridge Surf today. But from what you've seen throughout this event, who's the favourite out of the 6 remaining surfers? Oh, gosh.
I'm probably gonna lean on experience a little bit. He hasn't had the giant scores, but I'm gonna probably lean on Parko because he's spent so much time here on the island. He knows the reef really well. Saying that though, the other year when Owen got those 210s in that heat, he snuck them, at least one of them, maybe both of them, under Parko, who was sitting deeper up on the ledge on a higher tide. And Owen with second and third priority kind of snuck down the reef and ended up getting those wide ones on the higher tide. But yeah, I'd like to see Joel pulling out here for the veterans. But Joan seems like he's been the guy really in sync with the waves of all the heats I've watched. He's been the one. He had that heat prior to my heat the other day with Jordy, and it just seemed like he couldn't put a foot wrong. Every time he had priority, a good one came to him. And sometimes you just go with that. You just rely on that, and you could have a contest where your heats are slow or your heats are bombing, and if you keep making it through rounds, it seems to me I have a lot of contests where I keep getting those same kind of heats. I'm either the waves are happening or they're not, and Joan's been really in sync with it and picking the best ones in heats that have good waves.
I love that big turn, just straight into that two-handed stall that he has off the bottom. It's a bit of a Hobgood throwback.
Yeah, it is
out here, but it's been fun to watch. Kelly, even though obviously you'd love to be out there still in the event, you always look so at peace sitting right there in that restaurant area. And since they remodeled the restaurant a couple of years back, it's been really set off with one great addition. And we want you to talk us through this portrait of Chief Druku and getting this thing mounted on the wall here in the new restaurant.
Yeah, well, a few years back I became good friends with Kevin Ansell, artist, old-time surfer, crab fisherman. I think he worked on a ranch at one point. He's sort of a jack of all trades, Kevin, but he's just an old sea dog, and he's just one of the crew. And he came here with us, I think 2 or 3 years ago for the first time, and he took a big stump and he carved a compass into it and the shape of the island. And he felt like he really wanted to sort of stamp his put his fingerprints on the island somewhat. And he was real nervous because he was really looking forward to meeting Chief Druku and getting to know all the people on the island and feeling welcome here and everything. And he felt like the first time he came, he didn't really sort of connect the way he wanted to. So anyways, he kept in contact with Jamie and Rick and them on the island, and I was talking to them about getting Kevin to do a piece, just something for the island at some point. And then obviously when Druku passed away, that became the project. And so Kevin came here on a mission. He called me before and he said, man, I'm going to go there, and he goes, I'm going to do the most badass project, the most badass piece of work I've ever done, and I'm going to put my heart and soul in this thing. And so he sat there for weeks on end every day. He took pictures of Druku's hands. He had his favorite picture of his eyes and his face, and him and his whole get up for the Kava night ceremonies they do here for us for Fiji night. And he kind of put all those together, obviously with restaurants in the background, kind of a full moon scene. And you can see Plantation and Malolo and the other islands in the background there. But hopefully you guys can zoom in on that thing and we can have a look. But it really looks like Druku's peering into your eyes. Last night I was here and I looked up and I thought, gosh, it's so sad to not have Druku here, and Barracuda and some of the others who have passed away over the years that have been friends to all of us. But I looked up at this picture of Druku and I just thought, gosh, he's still here. It really feels like he's still here because you see that smile, and it's hard to feel sad when you see that smile and feel
incredible.
All his kids working here on the island, and this is his family.
Yeah, props to Kevin, because he does just capture the spirit of Druku there, that welcoming smile. Just an intimidating figure, but really just a big teddy bear.
Yeah, so loving and warm, and what a way to commemorate him. And that in the bar, it really does just remind us of coming back here and the warmth and the welcome that we always get from the people. I mean, it's pretty special to have that energy and have it imparted on all of the competitors and everyone feel like they're part of the family.
Yeah, fits in well with the restaurant too, Kelly, because there's that traditional Fijian drua as well, just mounted above the bar there, which was a gift commemorating the passing of another chief many years ago. The canoe.
Oh, the canoe. Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry. I was a little lost. The canoe's hidden behind my view of this pole right here. I was actually, in my head, I was thinking about a quick story I had of Druku. He didn't surf for many years prior to passing away. And in 2012, I brought a big board here. I knew the big swell was coming. And Druker hadn't surfed in, I'm going to say at least 3 years, but maybe 5 years. And every year I could come back and go, let's go surf this year. Oh, yeah, bro. Maybe next week. Okay. Maybe next time. Next time you come, we go for sure. And then this one day I said, hey, today's the day. Restaurants is good. It's high tide. I got a big board. Let's go. And I got my GoPro and walked out there with him. I filmed him on the way out, interviewed him. We went out and he caught his last wave, and I filmed it and took off behind him and rode for about 10-15 seconds on his last wave he ever got, and we got it on film. And unfortunately I don't have it with me on the island, and when I go home I gotta find it. But next year I think that'll be our premiere video piece to show everybody, because it was pretty cool. He felt like he almost drowned because he hadn't surfed in a while, but he said, that's it, bro, let's go in. That was fun. And so I was really honored to share that wave with him.
Well, we lost him at the end of 2015, but his spirit definitely lives on here in Fiji. You're watching the OK Fiji Pro quarterfinal number 3 unfolding. Good score for Connor O'Leary to get started, a 6.33. Now looking for a backup to that number. Ducks under the lip for a moment, stalling. Out onto the open face. Keeps those down the line. Hits coming. As we now look out the back and see Juan Daru on one of the bigger waves of this heat, has a lot of speed. Rolling through this one. Tries to punch through the curtain, and he gets knocked down. So this heat not really going Juan Daru's way at the moment. Had a 1.1 on his opener. And I guess Kelly, with 16.5 minutes to go, Cloudbreak can do that to you. It can sort of treat you really well in one heat and then be cruel the next.
It can, and you can see clearly this heat so far, it feels like it's going Connor's way. When Connor paddled for that first wave, I was questioning it. He was under priority, though. He had second priority. I was a little bit questioning going that first wave because you can see there's some wonk and bump on it. And you can see where he does his last turn. We'll just kind of watch it here. A little bit of bump and wonk. See how that lip's not real clean and perfect. And a nice little slot barrel, but you can see he had to hit it and kind of fall out with it. And that can happen a little bit. But you turn around and see a guy on this thing and you go, oh, please don't do what I think you're going to do. And right here, I thought he was just lining up for the, this is when the 10s happen, when you get that long driving thing. But there's some bump coming out of the channel. And, I haven't been out there today, but it looks a little bit wobbly still, even though it's really perfect at the same time. But, what can happen is you get that first wave. It can work for you or against you, and it seemed to work for Connor that time. He may even get out and get priority before Joanne can get back out to the peak. Looks like he's probably going to.
4.83 for that last ride. Connor O'Leary just moves up a little further ahead. John Daru, though, 15 minutes to go, can still track down 2 decent waves, Rosie, and we know that he doesn't sort of seem to rush himself when he finds a wave that has some scoring potential. He really paces himself well. That last one, it just reeled off so swiftly.
Yeah, nothing he could have done there. I mean, his determination to make it out of that barrel was so tangible. But, Connor O'Leary, the 4.83, it's very reminiscent of the scoreline that Joel Parkinson had in his round 5 heat. You never know where that score is going to play in at the end of the story. So Connor doing well to build on that 6.33 and find that backup, because right now it really seems like that rhythm is tipping in Connor's favor. But John, he's chipping away at it. I mean, he's done such a good job of reading this lineup so far in this event.
Well, Connor O'Leary having a look at this one. Late takeoff, quickly gets out of there. You're going to see a bit of a priority shift up. John Daru now just sitting out there. Just under 14 minutes to go. We've been chatting with the most successful surfer here in Fiji, Kelly Slater, with 4 victories, and celebrating a reunion of sorts over here in the islands this year. Barton Lynch, you enjoyed your first trip to Cloudbreak with Kelly way back in the day.
25 years ago, Blakey, it was, when Kelly and I and Brock Little and Todd Mitsui and Seth McKinney came on a trip with Tom Survey. Kel, you obviously connected with this place then. I obviously didn't, because 25 years later I now realise how fantastic it is, and I will be doing this a lot more times, mate. But how many times do you think you've been here over the years?
Probably at least once a year. I missed a couple of years there early on, but then I've been coming multiple times every year for many years now, so probably 30 plus times.
And knowing a day like today, mate, what do you think the key is going into these semi-finals?
Well, it's always going to, you watch enough heat, Spartan, to know, even if you're not there, it's just you got to pick those good waves. It's tricky with the tide changing out here. If it's high tide, you might move down a little bit. If it's low tide, you might go up top. But then, if the swell's a little more south or a little more west, you might want to be deeper or wider, depending on that. Also, what's the bump doing? Do you want to catch the first wave of the set or the second or third wave? How is the first one affecting the draw off the reef with the other one? So, you just got to factor all that in, and that just comes down to how much have you been free surfing and how comfortable do you feel. Here goes Connor.
Connor O'Leary looking to get rid of a 4.83 here. He's been surfing with plenty of speed, but that wave's not going to count in this heat. It's going to be a throwaway number for him. We'll go back to Barton.
Yes, mate. Well, listen, I've also got Glenn Micro Hall right over my shoulder here. He's obviously Matt Wilkinson's coach, as with others, mate. And he's an amazing coach, an amazing surfer in your own right. What's the advice going to be to Wilco going into that semi-final against someone who looks on point in Michel Perez?
Yeah, I suppose for now it's just reinforcing a lot of the stuff we've already been through for the last 2 weeks. So it's he's obviously surfing well, and he's got all his little landmarks dialed, and I feel like he's the informed surfer. So it's just a lot of reinforcing now.
Yeah, I picked him to win today too, but some beautiful sets coming through. Do you take Michel into consideration when you're developing strategies and you're talking to Wilco, or is it all about what he does?
I feel like for me, no matter who you got in the draw can get really barreled and get big scores, so it's kind of relevant really. Like, you can't affect what Michel's doing on a wave, and he's clearly unbelievable in the barrel, but so is Wilco and so is everyone else. So it's for Wilco it's just do his own thing.
All right, mate. Well, we look forward to seeing that semi-final. Thanks for talking to us. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Barton. Just over 11 minutes to go. Juan Daru. He's really going to be surfing a pretty short heat here, Rosie. He hasn't had a real wave of any substance just yet, just a couple of throwaways. Can still turn it with one excellent score, but you just get the feeling Connor O'Leary is going to drop this 4.83 at some point. Here he goes now, the surfer from Cronulla. Just stalling, riding high. Been impressed with the speed he's carried through each of his rides in the event so far. Throwing a little bit more risk at the end section, knowing it's a smaller wave, but unsuccessful on that attempt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see both of these surfers just using their own approach. I think it's so important what Glenn Hall said. Just don't waste your energy thinking about what your other competitor's doing. It seems like Joan knows that he's just waiting for those bombs. Right now, I think wave selection is going to be so key, and with 10 minutes remaining, the chances of a bomb coming through and a 9.66 coming through in conditions like today, and John having the mental kind of grit to really put his best performance on the line, he so has that ability.
Well, here we go. Out there at the takeoff zone, trying to position himself well for something special from the outset. Juan Daru, a little late getting into this one, but he's got plenty of speed to just motor through this section. And still rolling through the inside. And goes for a big float, wants to add some points down the line. So that was one of those occasions where Juan Daru got the motor running to get through the first section, but as a result, again, he came out with so much speed. Couldn't really break for the barrel, and it was sort of reeling off behind him. There was maybe some more points there, but anytime you get yourself deep in these barrels, you're on your way to a good number. Connor O'Leary well and truly back in this thing, but a little too far. It looks like 9 minutes to go here. Juan Daru's about to put up his best number. Kelly, did you see more points on that wave? And what do you think it's going to fall into?
Self here. There we go. There we go. Well, like you said, it was funny because he started to pump and get going and get the speed, and then he kind of had a hiccup, and it kind of threw him. He got a little bit late getting to it. So we'll see here. So there he extended a little bit weird and got caught in a weird bump, and it put him in a good spot. And then there he got caught up and slowed him down. But then he didn't slow down enough. He could have put the arm in, did the float here. I really think he should have just teed off on that last section, right? There was a nice slash section, kind of carve section at the end he didn't utilize. But he's back in the heat. Watch him get caught up right about there. And I thought he was going to go down. So it was, it was kind of a bonus that he didn't go down and did make the wave. He was clearly back in the heat. I mean, it's probably going to be up there close to Connor's best score. And he's, he doesn't need a big score now. I feel like Connor has a little bit kind of made a couple rookie mistakes catching those last couple waves he caught. He didn't need those. Why are you taking a small little inside wave that's not going to better your 6'3"? It might better your 4'8" by a tiny bit, but then you're going to sit out there stressed with a guy only needing a 5 if he matches your big wave. Although I needed a 4, and that didn't help me. But
we got solid scores starting to roll through for Juan Daru, but I think I know what you mean. You want to press the issue when someone else is kind of controlling priority out the back. You want to force them to start making some tough decisions.
Well, either force them or, sit there and wait for them to finally take their draw and go, and you're still going to be in the lead no matter what, unless a guy pulls a 9-6, which Joan needed at the time. But then you're back sitting there with priority. If you had caught some little insider that's barely going to better your 4.8, if it does at all, there we go, 7.7. He only needs a 3.4 now. And Connor's got second priority. So, catching those couple little ones that definitely weren't going to help him. Now he's sitting there going, okay, if a good one comes, it's Joan's, it's not mine. So that's where you got to kind of play the game. And I think that was, that's kind of what we have to do in these situations. I think that's on the devil's advocate side of that. I think that's why so many people loved watching Dane Reynolds surf, because it was just like a wave comes, I'm just going to take off and shred. I don't care what the position is in the heat. And, there's just a raw talent to that if he wins. But, you have seen, I did see a couple heats later in, Dane's competitive career where he played the game and was smart and won heats, and then you get to see him surf again. And John made a lot of mistakes early on. All the talent in the world, sometimes you make a mistake just flat out surfing. And you see now John is making really smart choices, and then everyone gets to see him surf more. So, sometimes you got to play the game a little bit just because that's what's out in the water. There's not 2 10s out there. There's only a couple of maybe 7s. So you don't know that going into a heat, but you got to kind of feel that out and judge what the other guy's doing and how he's playing his game. And I think, like I said, Joan's been the guy in sync with the good waves. He's got priority with 6 minutes left. I think the chances are a good wave's going to come again.
Well, just over 5.5 minutes to go. We're loving the opportunity to pick the brain of the 11-time world champion who knows this break better than anyone. And at the moment, Juan Daru is making a bit of a comeback. He had a 7.7 on his last wave, still chasing a 3.39 with just over 5 minutes remaining here at the Out and On Fiji Pro. Welcome back to the show. Just over 3.5 minutes remaining here in quarterfinal number 3. Connor O'Leary leads, currently sitting on 11.16. as a two-wave heat score total. Jean Deroux, he's got a 7.77. He needs a 3.39. And there is still some surfing to be done in these final stages to establish yet another semi-finalist. Ronnie Blakey with Rosie Hodge. We also have Kelly Slater with us, calling the action for this heat. And we've had a lot of focus on the competitors in the lineup. We've talked a little bit about Kelly's relationship with Cloudbreak and Tabarua and the people here. But Kelly, I have to ask, people will be kicking me if I don't. We couldn't have anticipated that you'd suffer an injury and have to withdraw from Brazil. Obviously, that set you back a ways. Also, not the result you're after here in Fiji. I'm already looking forward. I'm just wondering if it doesn't come together this year, whether you can get your body right. You'll have yet another full tilt attack at a world title next season.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about that because obviously didn't start out. I started out on the Gold Coast. I felt pretty good. I surfed a lot while I was there, and the back kind of started catching up with me again. I pushed through, obviously, Margaret's and Bell's. Didn't free surf much during those times. I think it just shows in the results, you know. When I don't get to surf a whole lot, I'm just not tack sharp, and the confidence isn't quite there. And I will say this week my body's feeling pretty good. I surfed a session yesterday, and I came in and I told Kalani, I said, I can't believe I didn't actually even think about my back out there. It didn't hurt me at all, which is probably the very first surf I've had in a couple of years where I can say that. So Chris Prosser and his team, the work has helped for sure. There's been a couple other people doing some body work on me that have helped me out, and you know, I definitely have to thank them. And also just relaxing, not surfing a whole lot, so you're not putting that strain on the muscles, and it's kind of the side of my vertebrae, the facets that are poking into a nerve and just annoying all the time. But so to get back to your question there, yeah, I have been thinking about that. And, you know, you have to question where motivation, inspiration comes from, and obviously good waves make it easy. When the surf's good, it's not too hard to get excited. When the surf's not good, if you got a rival or somebody who kind of keeps you up at night that makes you mad and you want to kill him, you want to smash him in the heat, that makes it a little easier too, because you figure out ways to go win and ways to keep on par with that person. And you know, so I'm probably missing that. Here we go. Joan, he only needs a 3.36. There's that carve all the way around I was talking about, the slower little wave. Nice second one. It's definitely not a big wave or a giant score, but he's definitely going to be flirting with this little score that he does need. And we'll see what happens here.
Just a horrible score to be chasing on a wave this small when there has been some real quality in the waves. He likes the feel of it. It's a 3.39, the requirement. But you've got to make some comparisons to the 4.83 Connor O'Leary had. What was the size of that wave?
Yeah.
What kind of turns did he get done? That's his last shot at it. So 15 seconds to go. Do you think he did enough damage there?
Yeah, well, Connor also had a little tube on his and kind of the bigger finish. Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, you could easily say that's a 1.5 less than Connor's wave. Interesting that he claimed it. He thinks he got it. On my claim scale, I'm going to say that is, I'd have to total it up, but that's a few $100s for that claim. to go into the pot.
Well,
and if you win your heat, you can easily afford it, right?
Exactly. Well, the numbers are starting to come through, and the early indication is it's going to be very close right there on the line. Couple more numbers coming through now. Not sure it's going to be enough. A 2.93. So devastating. Connor O'Leary scrapes through, and yet another low-scoring heat, Kelly. I think at some point he's going to have to start dropping some really big numbers.
Yeah, he will. And, you know, that's, you know, so there was some momentum going both their ways. Connor has been winning heats with low scores. Joan's been winning heats with high scores. Those high scores didn't show up. So you got to think, you know, there's a certain momentum to the slow heats or the lower scores for Connor. And, you know, I'm fine. I'm sure he's fine making 3 heats like that. And I'm sure he's stoked right now. But looking at that score, you know, it was about a 3. That was probably about 30% of as good as you could do out there. It wasn't a great ride. Connor dodged a bullet, and he knows it. So for him, I think he should go into the semifinal with absolutely no pressure whatsoever. He could easily say, hey, I could have lost that heat, you know, our heat, if I had a 4. He could have lost that heat with Joanne with a 3.4. So, I mean, you don't scrape through many heats at Cloudbreak with those kind of scores.
Well, Stu Kennedy is Connor O'Leary's Kate Winslet out there on the bow of the boat celebrating that win. Connor's through to the semi-finals for the first time ever. Kelly, stick around. We still want to put you to the sword and find out whether you're going to be back next year to compete once again.
There we go.
Stay with us. Quarterfinal number 4 will be right up.
Dog. I'll take it. Welcome back to the outer known Fiji Pro. A very happy Connor O'Leary. Just a scrappy one there in the end, but a win's a win through to the semis.
Yeah, one of the scrappier heats that I've ever had in my life. I mean, Leo and Michelle's heat beforehand was pumping, and I was just like, oh, this is going to be such a good heat. And then it was one set at the start, and then it just stopped for the last half of the heat. So, but glad to get away with a win.
Well, you're coming into the semis. You got to be pretty happy with your run so far this year as a rookie.
Oh, over the moon. I mean, can't thank Luke and Martin Dunn enough for the help that they've had for me, and yeah, stoked for the rest of the year.
Well, congrats on making it through. We'll let you get ready for the semis, and you know what? It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, hopefully there's more waves than that last one.
For sure. Well, check this out. We got coming up 2 of the old mates on tour. Joel Parkinson, Bede Durbridge, coming up next.
This wave draws clean. Now Bede is going to stuff this one beautifully. Yes!
Joel Parkinson is trying to tuck in once again, stalling, gets a bit of cover here. Welcome back, quarterfinal number 4, hitting the lineup now. Bede Durbridge up against Joel Parkinson, 2 of the longest serving members on the championship tour. Good mates who haven't had a head-to-head heat for some time now. But interesting to know, Rosie, who do you reckon's got the upper hand when it comes to head-to-head battles between these 2?
Well, you said it like that. I'm going to have to go with Bede Durbridge. Ooh.
And you'd be right. 6 head-to-head heats, and Joel only able to snabble 1 heat away. They also had a final at Pipeline together, but that was a 4-manner, so we'll write that one off. But Bede Durbridge has really caused some headaches for Joel Parkinson in the past. Bede is super inspired to do well in this contest, obviously. Both of these guys very motivated. Bede coming from way down the leaderboard. Joel with some surfers out of the mix ahead of him on the ratings. He has a huge opportunity here. He's also never been past this round in Fiji, which is kind of interesting because he surfs the place very well. And let's see what happens on Parko's first ride. Bede opened up with a 3.17. Joel driving off the bottom. A nice hit there. Climbs up under the lip once again. But just gets thrown off time a little down the line. Now tucking in, finds a bit of cover, bounces his way out of the tube and finishes with another smooth float on the inside. So not a bad start to the heat. Joel's definitely going to get the edge on Durbo in that opening exchange.
Yep, interesting strategy. I mean, I think he employed the same technique in that round 5 against Stewie Kennedy, starting early, going to that rail work. But all sorts of combinations on that last wave. It wasn't a set by any means, but still Joel committing to every maneuver that he did. I think the judges are going to take note of the combination of maneuvers he put together.
On the back of the ski there, Joel, in his last heat, Rosie went looking for the barrel. Sometimes it wasn't on offer. This time, an easy decision. He just went straight to big turns.
Exactly. I mean, it's A or B, black or white, the barrel or the turns, and Joel just goes to that rail. Such smooth transitions through his turns, just linking it together with a lot of speed and momentum. Pauses for this little tube time over there, rides it out through that crumbly section, and then goes for the float. Love that commitment on the inside. And then this, the 317 from B. Durbridge. This is the opening wave of this heat. So throws the tail, drifts it through, and rides it out. So B. Durbridge, both of these guys matching the grunt and the power.
Joel just getting a couple more opportunities down the line, and as a result, he's going to edge ahead here in the opening stages. A 6.67 for Parko. B. Durbridge already will be making a big climb up the ladder in 27th position. On his way to his best finish at the moment, the 34-year-old. We still have Kelly Slater with us, and Kelly, you're kind of rooting for Joel to go on and get the job done at being a veteran here. It's amazing to think that he's had 3 quarterfinals but hasn't broken into the semis in Fiji.
Yeah, it is. But I didn't realize he was against Bede. So to be honest, I'd be happy for either of these. I don't mind who wins this heat. You know, Bede coming off that injury, I think his confidence could use a real good result. And I think he's a bit underrated in barrels, and I think his strength is his backside off the tops. Let's see here where Bede goes with this one. See how the wave paces. Looks like he's got a run so far, pull straight into the tube. Hopefully this thing barrels out way ahead of him. See if he can just hold on there. See, it was a kind of a crumbly, slow tube, but here goes Joel backing him up. I'm guessing Joel will kick out of this thing. He'll see where Bede fell and want to keep priority. It doesn't look like a giant score to me. He'll just get something on the board, and well, we'll see.
Oh, big adjustment there.
Yeah, weird adjustment off the bottom there, and you know, I was expecting Joel to kick out and just go straight back out and get priority, because I don't think a wave like that's going to hold up by the end of this heat. But you know, he did watch that last heat, and you know, there's been a number of heats throughout this event where you know, a 3, 4, 5 will get you through the heat.
We've seen it from you in years gone by, Kelly. Cloud breaks such a long wall, and even sometimes if you farm a section or bog down on a turn, you can still make up those points down the line. You have so much room to move and correct mistakes on this wave.
Yeah, so I bogged some sections, Ronnie.
Not you.
No,
I didn't say that.
No, you can. You can totally screw up outside and make everyone forget about it about 10 seconds later. Like you said, down the line, you know, the outside, if it's not perfect and the inside is perfect, you know, you want to build through your wave. There was the heat earlier with Joan. He got that one barrel where it started out real cool and he was way behind it, and he was chasing. He came out of the barrel and came out of the deep part of the barrel and then was in the pocket still for the rest of the ride. And he ended up scoring an 8.5. You know, I kind of thought it was going to hurt him because I felt like if it was more of a pocket in the beginning and got more exciting as it went, the score could go real high. But you can definitely make up for stuff out here. I notoriously have not done well, haven't had good results at Sunset Beach, but the best wave I ever got at Sunset was in a heat, and I was actually with Luke Egan. And I took off on a north peak out the back. I went to hit the foam, and I knew I was going to catch my edge, so I jumped on my stomach, and I started over. And I ended up getting a 10-point ride because I got 2 barrels on the wave. But I completely messed the whole beginning of that wave up, and I started over. And, you know, I made the judges forget about it. But you can do that out here. I think anyone could. with the right wave. There's just a little bit of bump. As you watch these waves peel down the reef, you'll see the lip of the wave has a little bit of kind of a ruffly sort of bump from the channel. On these new swells, you get a lot of current in between the islands ripping out, and there's like a reverberation that'll come off the side of that. So you got the swell going one way, the wind going a different way, and the current going a different way. So that's why you can see that bump in the water there around those guys. So they're going to be looking for, you know, if I was out there, I'm looking for that sort of second wave of the set. The first one draws the water real clean and smooths it out and takes some water off the reef and makes the second one more hollow.
I'm thinking about these two surfers and their run through this event. Much like Conor O'Leary, still hasn't had a score in the excellent range. B. Durbidge has had one, 8.43. Joel Parkinson, his highest ride is 7.77. When I think of this contest and you think of the results in the past few seasons, it seems like an event where surfers that are on a roll getting big numbers often go on to get the win. We saw it last year with Medina. The year before that, Owen Wright was collecting huge numbers through every round. You've done it a bunch of times in this event. Something's got to click for these guys pretty soon if they're going to overcome the surfers in the top side of the draw.
Well, you would think so, but I don't necessarily agree with you because this year has been such a strange year. You saw round 3 was total carnage. You know, I would say 3/4 of the heat were won by guys you weren't expecting traditionally to win out here because other guys have been so experienced or done well in the past or were the high seeds. But you know, it's just been funny. There's been one heat that's on, one heat that's off, a couple heats on, maybe a couple heats off. So it's really whoever plays the smart game. Here's Parker trying to scrap into something now. See, I think Joel realizes that there could be some slow heats and he just wants to get something going here and give himself opportunities. And you mentioned Medina. That's what Medina is so great at. John has started to become really good at that too. Is just getting tons of waves under the other guy's priority, putting scores on the board that the other guy didn't even look at.
Well, we're going to see what unfolds. Conor O'Leary waiting to find out who he's going to take on between B. Durbidge and Joel Parkinson, but the field's being whittled away here, Rosie. And is a winner sort of emerging for you? Have you seen someone that's clearly in better form than the rest of the field?
In all honesty, Matty Wilker has been a standout to me throughout this competition, especially the 2 heats that he's had this morning. He's been so strong and he's had to overcome such great competitors as you see the debrief happening on the ferry.
Wave came through, I'm like, oh, there it goes. Nah,
well, to your 4, it was that Storley barrel with the thing, and they gave you 4 something. As soon as you took off, when they give you what he does is
and your one was a small wave, but it was double the size of his. His was this big.
Yeah.
And he was like.
And he did the right thing because nothing else came.
It was like forced turn.
Well, Luke Egan, Conor O'Leary, Stu Kennedy talking about the later stages of quarterfinal number 3. Juan Daru's effort to try and track down a low score. Unsuccessful. That'll work for Conor. But just going over what unfolded in that heat and looking at ways to improve moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's always important to have that debrief and chat to the people who have, you know, the overview of the whole heat. You're only living in the moment as a competitor, surfing your wave as it comes to you. So really getting an insight from the people in your corner and getting that all the information that you can so that you can learn and evolve with every heat.
It's funny too because you can tell Luke Egan's kind of really encouraging Conor not to look at a semi-final as the end stop in this contest. He wants to calm him down, but he doesn't want him to lose that mojo, that feeling that he's got out here at Cloudbreak at the moment. So it's a tough thing to manage your students' expectations of themselves and their feelings. As we see Joel Parkinson on a good-looking wall here. And Joel drives off the bottom now, throws everything into the lip. But it goes horribly wrong for him. Just under 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, and just touching on expectations, I think it's important to remind Conor that the buck doesn't stop at the semi-finals. There's still those 2 heats, you know, the semi-final and then the final. So, you know, rein in the energy and the expectations and keep your mind and your focus on the heats at hand.
So Bede Durbidge out the back now with priority. A good looking set wave standing up for Bede. He drops to the bottom. Draws up around that bowl. grabs his rail, starts to stall. Not a lot of cover there. He's going to get out, knowing full well that that's not going to give him the kind of number he needs to overcome Parko. Joel might just get rid of his 4.83 here, but certainly would have pushed the score a lot higher had he completed that last turn. And it's strange, and we'll go to Kelly Slater for some insight, but Joel's had a couple of misreads out there today, Kelly. Maybe just looking at this event already as a huge opportunity to capture a win, looking at the names in the draw and counting on his experience.
Yeah, that could be the case. I mean, he might just be licking his chops going, I'm going to move right up the ladder board here. I just got to, play it smart or whatever. So you get a little bit out of the moment and stop thinking about exactly what's going on. That could happen. That being said, he started off with this wave, and he's just feeling the speed there. And you can see I think he was a little frustrated that he didn't get a turn to start, but then he got a nice barrel. And look, the lip's a little bit funny out there. Look how steep this thing is right up where he had to hit it. And, I think almost a floater would have been the maneuver with considering how late he got up to the lip. Nice little barrel there. Comes out, and he has to square this thing up. But it's hard to square up a lip that's running on your forehand or your backhand. Joanne and Connor, I noted them a number of times go to hit the lip and kind of fall out, kind of put the back foot on the tail and step out of it instead of keep the rail engaged and carve down. So, that inside section really kind of runs. It's hard to do a nice rounded off carve in there unless the waves really kind of got more south in it. It's pushing along the reef as opposed to running. And one thing I did note there was after Joel came up from his wave, the one behind his was barreling off its head. And I saw Joel actually look at it and kind of put his hands up like, gosh, look at that thing. And it was just a quick little flash, but I felt for him because you see those out there all the time when you're free surfing.
Just over 17 minutes to go. Joel having a look at this one. Up once again, grabs that rail, keeps his body nice and compact so he can fit in this smaller tube. Really traveling for a long time now, but he's not going to find the exit.
Yeah, and I think Joel is feeling that the ocean seems like it's slowed up, so he's just giving himself a bunch of opportunities. He didn't have priority right there. He was way outside of bead. No harm, no foul, and kind of catching that one, riding past bead, and then getting yourself in position on the reef in case bead misses one.
Let me ask you this, Kelly. 12 CT wins for Joel, the third most winning surfer on the championship tour. But it's been a long time between event wins. 2013, he won in Bali. You were in a similar situation last year. You'd had a couple of years, you hadn't had a victory. Did these kind of moments, quarterfinals, semi-finals, kind of bring up nerves that you hadn't experienced in a while? Yeah, for sure. There was a number of contests during that 2-year span there where I didn't win that I thought I was going to win. I had that feeling, and then I thought about it, like, oh, is this that feeling? And I didn't trust it, and I kind of, was wondering, like, you get in your head a little bit, and you can throw yourself off for sure. But last year at Chopo, I just felt it coming together, and I just didn't question it. I just smiled through the whole thing, and it felt great. Is that current numbers added, or if he wins, does he move? If those guys win, do they move to 26? I'm guessing they move to 26. That's coming into this event. So yeah, Joel. I believe John's got some points to add there. Matt Wilkinson, the only surfer capable of taking the yellow jersey. Yeah, so John would move to 26.5. Yep. And so these guys would pass him if they were to win this contest, either of them. Matt, yeah, just by 200 points, Matt Wilkinson would be in front. Yep. And Wilco, as you said, Rosie, Wilco looked great so far. He's totally in sync. I think surprisingly amazing barrel riding. I don't think people really think of Matt's best. They think of Wilco's best surfing as his backside off the top, but his barrel ridings look great. He's had some really good turns as well. I think he was super impressive out here last year, getting second to Gabriel, and I think he snuck under everyone's radar. That strength too, Rosie. Just you can see how it's helped Matt harness his talent.
Definitely. And Kelly, you were touching on motivation to really just evolve your surfing every year. Joel looks like he's going to take off on this one.
Big highline drive, grabs that rail, putting the palm of his hand up against that wall to stall, and he'll roll through this one. Out onto the open face now. Bashes that lip. Beat Durbidge going to look for an answer right behind him. Casual on the takeoff. Stalling now, puts his backside right there in the face of the wave to really get some time inside that barrel. little bit sleepy on the outside, but gets a bit of pocket to work with now and calls for the sled. So 14 minutes remaining. Back to you, Rosie.
Yeah, but I was just talking about that motivation. Obviously, Matty Wilco, coming off his best season last year, would be feeling bulletproof. But how do you work on those weaknesses, and how can you see someone like Matty Wilco improve this season and go one better, or a few better even?
Yeah. Well, you know, the difference between Wilco of last year and the Wilco of this year is he started playing golf. And he is completely motivated to you know, if he gets his job done, then Micro lets him go play golf.
Well, that'll teach you how to deal with frustration.
Yeah.
And he had plenty of that last season.
Yeah. I think the back half of last year would have been a really tough pill to swallow for Wilco. He started so great, had all the confidence in the world, couldn't put a foot wrong. Every wave he caught was the right one. Every choice he made in the heat was the right one for the first few events. And you kept thinking, like, is he going to fall off? And he, like I said, he came here and surprised us all. But the back half of the season was a tough one for him. And maybe it's better he didn't have such a great start this year like he did last year. There's only been a few people ever to start out with 2 wins to begin the year. There goes Joel, almost ran Bede's legs over there. I haven't ever had the jet skis take me that close to the lineup at Cloudbreak, so they've gotten lucky there. But the only problem is if a set comes, they're going to have boat wakes all through the waves right now, so they might want to hope for another minute or 2 lull.
How beautiful are these drone images?
Incredible.
All those little veins in the reef. You've got your spots out there, Kelly, which you used to line up with the takeoff?
No.
Not going to give us anything?
No.
Keep your secrets to yourself. You'll be back here next year competing.
Did that and it worked against me before.
Just on 12 and a half minutes to go, and Joel Parkinson still has the heat lead. Trying to get rid of a 4.83. We're waiting for numbers to come through. So just over 12 minutes to go in quarterfinal number 4. Joel Parkinson up against Pete Durbidge. We'll find our last semi-finalist after the break.
Perez now looks down the line.
Michelle Perez not finished, extending that back leg, throwing buckets of water out the back of the wave.
Leo now knifes it. Huge upset here for the rookie against the world's best.
Joan Deroux just glides through a beautiful first turn. Joan Deroux on fire as yet another top 10 surfer falls out of the mix.
Looks like Connor's going to take this one away from Kelly.
Slater, the 4th top seed to tumble here in the 3rd round.
Parko, second wave of the set's drawing cleaner. It's going to suit this man's style as he gaffs out a big turn there. As this wave draws clean. Now Bede is going to stuff this one beautifully. Yes! All the experience of Bede Durbidge on the main peak plays out with a great reward.
Welcome back. Just reflecting there on the 3rd round. Only 2 surfers from the top 10 surviving the onslaught. The lower seeds were on fire in round 3. Joel Parkinson was one of the top seeds that made it through to finals day. He's up against Pete Durbidge. Out in front at this stage, but Pete chasing a 7-point ride in this wave during the break.
Well, here we go. Pete Durbidge. See a lot of water pulling up the face on this wave for him, but it also gives him ample opportunity to make connection with that lip. So Bede, been waiting a long time for him to lock in his second best scoring ride. This could be it, a bit of a bigger wave for Bede. As we watch this drone view, gives us a perspective of what's going on beneath him, that water pulling off the reef. I like the timing on this wave. You can see him at the bottom there, just waiting for the lip to present itself.
Been loving the soundtrack to the Out of Known Fiji Pro this year too. An Australian band, Crooked Colours. Their debut album Vera is out everywhere June 23rd, so check them out. We're thrilled to be able to first feature their tunes off the album right here in Fiji. 8.5 minutes to go. Numbers coming through for Pete Durbridge on that last ride of 5.9, so he's still back in second spot. Chasing a 7 at this point in time. Some swell lines rolling our way. Kelly Slater's been with us. It's been a pleasure to be able to chat with you, Kelly. It just seems like in this heat, both competitors really decided early on they weren't going to mess around looking for tubes that weren't there necessarily, and they've gone really attacking these walls.
Yeah, they have. I was questioning. I thought Bede might get the score on that one. I mean, what did happen right there was, I talked about how they got off the skis. The skis did a line right across the line of the waves, and you saw Bede's wave was so bumpy, and there was so much bump on it from the skis coming back out. Here we go again. I don't know if this is the wave you're looking for, but I thought the score. I thought he surfed that wave basically as good as he could have, considering there was a bit of bump on it. But he sort of matched power with pushing through all those chops and bumps and created a nice clean line on the wave. It's hammered it 3 times. If we do see the above angle again, you'll see what I mean about the jet ski wakes in it. But you can see the line on the lip right there, making it tough. He probably could have held the rail down and driven out of that one a bit more, and that was a nice sort of clean finish. But this is where Bede really excels. His backside off the top, I think, is his best part of his surfing. His tube riding is a little underrated. You could look at those bumps out the back of the jet ski. So those are going right across that lip line and coming in towards him. So he's got to judge that and find the curve to round off those turns at the same time. That one, maybe he could have rounded off a little more square and then set himself up for a bit bigger turn there in the end. But I mean, overall, that was a pretty flawlessly surf wave. It just didn't ever offer up the barrel, and that's really that is the point of difference for Parko in this heat, is the tube.
Well, sometimes that technical aspect, those difficult challenges that the competitors approach, aren't really rewarded. And I guess one thing with Bede, you talk about the strength in his backhand. When he gets a really steep wall, you really know when he's laying into it. He almost twists his head off. He puts his head right down, faces the tail of his board, and uses all that height and leverage and power, Rosie, to let go of some of the most powerful and well-timed turns on tour.
Yeah, and I think, one word that pops out there is also the timing. It's just the way that he connects with the lip and still comes out of it with speed and the flow to carry the momentum into the next turn, and always eyeing out that critical section. He does have the grunt to really push through those bumps and iron it out and hold that rail.
Yeah, I remember the first time, I think the very first time I surfed against Bede was at Bell's, but when we were at Phillip Island. But there was these little lefts, and he was just like hammering these little off the tops, and it really messed with my confidence going into the heat. I have another friend who will remain unnamed right now because he'd kill me. But they had a heat at Trestles one time, and it was just a little northwest swell, and it was all little 1 to 2 foot lefts. I want to say it was the year that Richie Lovett won. And they were going out in the heat, and this guy almost sort of gave up before the heat because he just knew how good Bede was on his backhand. And I said, come on, just go out and try to smash him. And he's like, man, his backhand is so good. I don't know if I can match that. And, but sometimes a guy in a certain condition can do that to you, where you just know he's going to figure out how to read the conditions where it suits his surfing better, and it really messes with your head before you get in the water.
I do feel like we've been talking about it a lot, but in some ways, the significance and, the injury that Owen had, it kind of overshadowed this amazing comeback that Bede was sort of having behind the scenes. Despite the fact Bede hasn't had a big event win since he broke his pelvis, it's pretty remarkable to see him here now in the quarterfinals in Fiji.
Oh, what a frightening injury to have, to break your pelvis. I don't even know where you begin with that, with healing that thing. It seems like no matter how you sit, lie, or stand, your pelvis will be moving. So what a scary thing. I do honestly think it could have been a life-threatening injury. You know, if you watch that wave back, there was a little hiccup by Bede on the takeoff of that wave. He misjudged, and he kind of tried to turn down the line from too steep an angle. And his fins released, he flipped sideways, and from there, you know, we have controlled and uncontrolled wipeouts, and when you're really going for something, you have an uncontrolled wipeout, and that's what happened for Bede there. There was no way for him to kind of bail out, maybe dive and break the surface. He just ended up straight as part of the lip when he hit the face and got sucked straight onto flat reef. So, you know, sometimes you got to just go for it, but you know, is it worth that? You'd never know if that's going to happen to you.
Well, I mean, we think about Bede, and last year we saw him playing the role of John's caddy out here at Fiji, so he was still in the mix, and you know, that must be such an accolade for him to be noted as one of the surfers with experience by John to work on this event. What did you think about that, Kelly?
Well, I was just waiting for them to have man-on-man heat. At this event, it would be funny, but at any event, really. I think they did have one, maybe a three-man heat, or did they have a man-on-man?
They met up in Parkland, I think, last year.
Yeah, so because at that point you think, oh gosh, what did I share with him that puts him in the mindset of knowing what I would do in a certain situation? So, you know, when you share information with a guy about your approach to a heat, they kind of know that's how you play it, I would imagine. But, you know, Bede's so intelligent. He has such intelligence in a heat about how to play different situations. You know, I wouldn't put it past him to figure out most any kind of riddle in a heat and figure out how to come back. And out here with his big backhand off the tops, you know, he needs a 7 right now. I thought the 5.9 could have been pushed up a bit higher. I thought that was a really well-surfed wave, and hopefully they get a shootout here at the end, and you know, it can come down to the last wave. But like I said, I don't have a horse in the race here. I'm happy for either of these guys to win a heat.
Well, just over 2 minutes remaining now. Sets approaching Bede Durbidge. Well, that injury might have been career-ending for a lot of people, but he was so committed in making a return to competition. Just a really dedicated rehab. Had the help of the High Performance Centre there in Australia in getting him back on board. But here we go, Joel Parkinson trying to push further ahead, wants to get rid of a 6.23, stalling nicely. Drops out of the tube and really hits that first section hard. Couple of nice moves and another really nice, well-timed floater to finish on the inside. So that might be his best wave with a minute and a half to go.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, we look at the 6.67 that he posted on his first wave. It is looking to improve that scoreline, I would have to say. I mean, those hits were pretty serious, coupled with the barrel. Kelly, you mentioned that the barrel is kind of the point of difference, so he mixed that all in there, that combination of major maneuvers and the barrel.
He did. His first turn was just perfect, perfectly placed, perfect rail in the water. Here goes Bede, see if he can match. He knows he's going to need a barrel to catch up at this point. That was probably the best wave of the heat. It was a little bit of a slow, not especially deep barrel, but it was clean and hollow. And then I think he threw 3 turns in the end, but his first one was really well placed. So here, stalling. You can see this one got pretty hollow for being the first wave. It's a little bit slow. Didn't get very deep, so got to consider that. But look at this carp. Boom, just perfect timing. He didn't have to fall out of the lip. And he was a little late to that last one. Did great to climb and kind of shuffle it and throw the little sushi chef thing. I don't know what that was. Something's going on there. Chopping sushi rolls.
A good adjustment from Joel, though. You think back to his other 6-point rides, and there was some mistimed approaches to the lip, so he wasn't really hitting it where he wanted to on that occasion. A couple of big hits, another nice float, a tidy 7-point ride, and now Bede Durbidge is chasing a 7.77. Joel, he's on his way back to the boat. This heat is coming to a close. Bede, he might get a shot at the score here. He's got to get to his feet pretty soon. The hooter is about to sound.
Oh, he missed it.
And he's just too deep anyway, so Bede Durbidge, a good run. Joel Parkinson, he is starting to celebrate, and that's going to give him a lot of confidence going into the next round. That was the best wave we've seen him put together today. So he'll meet Connor O'Leary in the second semi-final.
And he's broken that run of quarterfinals. that Joel Parkinson has had in this event.
That's right.
Wow.
So into the semis for the first time. Hey, Kelly Slater, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Good one for Parko there. I want to send a quick shout out to Chris Martin from Coldplay. Just finished a concert in Germany and is watching you guys online. Said he's really enjoying your guys' commentary. And Parko, congratulations to him. Bede, great result to come back. And thanks for having me on, you guys. There's Abe Lerner, my caddy.
Love it, Kelly. Congratulations on the event. Can't wait to see you at J-Bay. We're going to take a quick break. Joel Parkinson through to the semi-finals. When we come back, Matt Wilkinson takes on Michelle Perez. We'll bring in Potts and Giggs for the call.